So no one wants to be bad at sex, and sometimes it's not what you're doing with your body, it's what comes out of your mouth that can make the whole experience pretty darn awkward and totally kill the moment. You know, you've been there. I'm gonna pull up an article, Huffington Post, the divorce vertical actually, they had their readers weigh in on the worst things or the most awkward things that people can say during sex, and I wanna pull up a few of them because there are some pretty classic examples. The first one is to never use anatomically correct terms, and they say, you know, they're not going to spell that out for us. Dr. Bill and Ginger, I mean, what is it exactly? I mean, I think Anthony makes a good point. Is it a reminder of like the doctor's office?
Well, I think Anthony's right. For some couples, that would be a mood killer, but for other couples, you know, believe it or not, it might actually be a stretch to even use anatomically correct terms. So there's such a wide range here in terms of what kind of language is going to work for any given couple.
Right, and I think it depends on how the message is conveyed as well. When you're saying it in your bedroom voice, it might come across as very sexy and a turn on, depending on, you know, how direction.
Huh. Nina, you've been nodding your head through the entire conversation so far. What's your take?
Well, when I wrote my book, the most important thing about dirty talk is some women feel pressured to act like a porn star, and I tell them to put that aside. Dirty talk is not telling your partner what you think he wants to hear. It's telling your partner using language what your partner needs to know, and using the vernacular instead of Latin, unless you're playing doctor, is probably the better way to go. And tone of voice, Ginger said it very well. Tone of voice means everything. I came up in the 70s where the books were telling women, tell your partner what you want. And I didn't realize till years later that I was sounding like a drill sergeant. So tell your partner the truth and use Marilyn Monroe's voice, because if you're dating men will kill themselves to please you. If you just say more, oh, to the left, oh, no, the other left, oh, just like that, just like that.
You know, you don't want to oversell, I think, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a verbalized confidence, as in I'm advertising that this is going to be the best time you've ever had. There's something to be said for having a quiet confidence, and also having the confidence to ask if you're not quite sure, you know, what the mood is or what her preference is.
So is this overselling? Caitlin Becker, one of our producers here, wrote about her own experience. She said, I once had an extremely well-endowed guy ask me, do you like that, and point down. It was like saying, I know you're impressed. I laughed in his face and was totally turned off.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's a little too much confidence, right?
I think that might be. I think maybe that's a lack of confidence and wanting, you know, the producer to say how much they liked it. I don't think that was confidence at all.
That's right. It's like asking for a comparison when you're done. How did I rack up to everybody else? You know, don't do it.
That is the worst.
Kimber, what's the worst thing that's ever been said to you?
I don't know about said. I used to have somebody who always wanted me to dirty talk, and it's like, if it's going to happen, it would come naturally, and asking me to tell you my fantasies about other women, it would be, in hindsight, I wish I had been like, well, why don't you tell me your fantasies about other men, because that would really get me excited, you know, and then he probably would have shut up. But it's the trying to make somebody do it. If they're not into it, they're not going to do it.
Well, I'm a big believer in seeking professional guidance in these matters. That we have a neutral third party to help the people in the couple learn to communicate better. I'm also a big believer in seeking out counseling or therapy early in the relationship when things are still going very well and you're still very eager to please the other person, and learning how to communicate. What are my sex triggers? What are your sex triggers? What are your no-go areas? What are my no-go areas? What are the let's go here areas? Basically, be kind to yourself, be generous to your partner, don't be a douche. And also,
a good rule for life.
And learn how to bring your grown-up person to the bedroom and not your child self, because a lot of us, when we get our feelings hurt in the bedroom, all of a sudden we revert to being 12 years old, and 12-year-olds cannot be having sex.